Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Bristol Town Council meeting of January 7th, 2026. If you could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Welcome. Before we start the regular meeting, as some of you might know that are here already, we wanted to recognize Karen Jewelers, specifically Joe and Diane that are here this evening. This was brought to this council by Councilman Texera, so I'm going to hand the microphone over to him so he can move forward. Sir?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Certainly is with great pleasure that we do this. I'm not going to say I, but we collectively, the council, the administration as well, to present this. It's been 70 years they've been in existence. Interesting enough, I stopped by, not that I quite often I do, but the other day, and Joe showed me just this little note that he has framed. And actually, that was the bill of sale to his father. It was a handwritten note, okay, of a half a page. And it was actually the bill of sale when his parents originally bought the business. And it was quite interesting to see that, because that was the way that people did things in town, you know, the way many of our parents, grandparents did business. It was a handshake and a word of mouth. And, you know, we didn't have to go through the gobble of stuff that we do now, you know, of pages and pages.
Kind of like our agenda, Tony. Yeah.
Oh, no. It was at one time until
right?
we shortened it. Yes, definitely. But actually, it was that's where 52 years ago, I purchased the engagement ring for my wife. And also the wedding ring was purchased I had the honor of having Joe's mom actually is the one that sold it to me. And I could not really afford the entire, you know, to make the purchase all at once. She says, worry not, you know, we'll be here and you stop by on a weekly basis and you can pay for the rings. And that's how it came about. So it's been a great honor, and it's nice to see Joe and Diane have taken over the business, you know, again. And they've been there for quite a few years now themselves. And you can see, you know, the product that they put out. It's with great pleasure, you know, what they can craft. Many, you know, much of it, of the artifacts, and, you know, what they can do with local items. You know, it's amazing. So make sure you stop by if you haven't had the chance to do so. So it's with great pleasure, you know, that we present this citation to both of you. Yes, please come.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Diana. Congratulations.
I did not read the citation, but it's pretty standard. You know, it just tells them that they've been in existence for 70 years of business and so forth. So, but it's with great pleasure that we do that. Thank you.
Thanks. Congratulations again.
And
One more round of applause.
Yay, right. Congratulations.
and the best of success going forward. We'll look forward to seeing you folks there for many years to come.
I hate to, you know, it was so eloquent, Tony, and you had such a great story. I hate for you not to be the last word on this, but if you don't mind, you know where I'm going with this, right? Joe and Diane, you guys you're not just business owners here either. You're advocates for the small business community. And Joe, I've heard that you're one heck of a guitar player as well. My father-in-law tells me every single time we bring up Joe Karen. But just to piggyback off of Tony's story here, or Councilman Texera's story, he was talking about picking up a ring to ask for your wife's hand in marriage, right? And my wife's just recently, this must have been like a couple months ago, my wife did come into your business because her wedding ring needed some work as well. And so we just are so happy to have small businesses that are there for people that are starting their marriage and for people that are there continuing their marriage as well. So thank you for everything, you two, and best of luck to you and the rest of your business. Yeah.
Thanks, everyone. Congrats again. Yes. Madam Clerk.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, the first item of business is the consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda?
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony to approve. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
The next item on the agenda is the submission of minutes. We have the town council meeting minutes from December 10th. We have the executive session minutes from December 10th, as well as the special meeting minutes for the legislative workshop on December 10th.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony to approve. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
The next item on the agenda is C1. This is ordinance number 2025-16, Chapter 16, to motor vehicles and traffic, Article 5, stopping, standing, and parking. And this is to change violation wording, second reading.
Make a motion to approve it.
Second?
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim to approve. Discussion? I will, is that this was a more of a housekeeping issue. This was to better clarify that parking on the wrong side of the street, as in specifically says parking with left wheels to curb. This was to give clarity when a ticket is given and you're on the wrong side of the street, why you got the ticket. So thank you, Madam Clerk. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is C2. This is ordinance 2025-17 for Chapter 8, boats, docks, and waterways, Section 8-72 for parking permits for dock holders, Section 8-76 for off-season parking at the Marina Ferry Dock, as well as Section 16-382 for the Prudence Ferry parking, off-season parking. And this is second reading.
Make a motion to approve it.
Second?
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim to approve. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is C3. This is ordinance number 2025-18, Chapter 5, amusement, Article 3, show exhibitations and entertainment, Section 592, license application information. And this is for the changes to the premise license sketches, second reading.
Motion to approve it.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry.
Yes.
If I may, I wanted to
course.
request one minor change to the ordinance on page 3 for 17-84 under the letter C, where it says for renewals of applications. I'm asking that we add the word also, just to clarify. So the section C should read for renewal applications that do not involve changes to the license premise or service layout. The application shall also provide a written attestation that the previously approved layout remains accurate. And this is just to clarify that they will have to provide the current photos as well as this attestation that they haven't made any changes, just to make it clear.
Make a motion to include that as well.
Second?
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim, as stated. Discussion? This was on my request and the council had lots of dialogue about this. This was to give this council a better idea of what's being requested for dancing and entertainment, such and so forth, liquor licenses. Prior, it was a kind of a basic sketch. Now we want photos and a better understanding of what's there and what's suggested to be improved, which also helps our police department and zoning enforce issues if there are any. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, the next item on the agenda is F1. This is Lisa Belmore for Dominic Court, requesting consideration of a traffic light at the intersection of Jameson Drive and Metacom Avenue, State Highway Route 136. Also, for the record, the council would note that there is a received at meeting, which is the recommendation from the police department.
Is Lisa here? Come on up, Lisa. If you could state your full name and address for the record, please.
Lisa Belmore for Dominic Court, Bristol, Rhode Island, 02809.
Welcome.
Okay.
So you are petitioning the council to have a traffic light installed on the corner of, or at the top of Jameson and Medicon, correct? Tell us more.
Okay, so I'd like to just share some concerns with you that brought me here today, along with some of my neighbors.
Hello, neighbors.
There's a few here.
There are over 60 homes in our neighborhood with at least 2 drivers per house. Based on the signatures that I received for this petition, just about everybody feels that the intersection of Jameson Drive and Medicom Avenue is unsafe. It is becoming increasingly more difficult to safely pull out onto Medicom, especially when you're turning left during morning and afternoon commute times especially. Sometimes the only way to go left is to go right and then turn around, which we shouldn't have to do. And that happens very frequently. The turning lane on Medicom Avenue is being used as a passing lane, and drivers enter the passing lane right at the turning lane, right at Jameson when they want to turn down Butterworth. So if you are coming north down Medicom from Bristol into Warren, and you want to turn into Jameson, you're basically almost getting in a head-on collision with people who get into that turning lane too early to go down Butterworth. The 2 lanes merge into 1 lane almost right before Jameson from Warren, the 2 lanes of traffic. And it causes drivers to race to get to be 1 car ahead of you there. There's only 1 way in and 1 way out of our neighborhood, which is also dangerous if there was ever an emergency. Nobody would ever let you out onto Medical Avenue. There's a daycare and a doctor's office directly across from Jameson Drive, and a light there would greatly benefit them as well. And the whole design of the turning lane and the 2 lanes coming into 1 and the increased traffic on Medicom makes it a really dangerous intersection. So the other thing I just wanted to say, at the very least, the traffic pattern needs some kind of review and change in that area. And my own opinion, I don't think recommendations should be based on how many accidents have happened there. It should be something to prevent accidents.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to say that I'm in full support of the traffic light. I've also experienced what everybody's experienced here with the traffic, and I've seen how you can't get out. I've been southbound in the morning, and it's backed up with the light coming from, I believe, Tupelo and Michael Drive. It's been all the way backed up. And I know you guys are trying to get out and take a left, and you can't. And then it's the Dunkin' Donuts that's also backed up. So you have quite a lot of maneuvering to do. So I've experienced it firsthand, and reading through the recommendations, I would definitely support moving this to the State Traffic Commission for light move forward.
Yeah.
I'll second that.
My 2 cents.
Yeah, I'll second, or Tony seconded
third
it, but
Third it.
I'll third it. I did have a family member that lived over there on Justin Street, and I remember that intersection very, very well. And you're absolutely right. There is that new daycare that's over there, and that is, I know that this issue has come up before on the town council because I've talked to some of my relatives who used to live on Justin Street. And since the last time I think that this issue was brought up, that daycare is over there now. And so, and I don't think traffic's gotten any easier out there either. So, and I've heard the personal stories that you have as well, the taking the right turn so that you can, eventually take the left-hand turn. It is kind of a very tricky intersection right there because you have all that traffic going from 2 lanes down to 1 lane over there. And so, yeah, I think everybody here feels your pain on this one. So
I believe the speed limit increases there too.
Can you use the microphone?
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I think the speed limit increases like right after our neighborhood, going down Medicom into Bristol, if I'm not mistaken. From
35 to
Warren.
40, that kind of does.
Yeah.
bring back-
It goes from 35 to 40, so I was jockeying for position from 2 lanes to 1.
If you could state your name and address.
John Camello, 19 Greg Drive.
Welcome.
Good evening.
Welcome.
To echo Elisa's comments, 2 lanes from southbound traffic to one lane. So Warren to Bristol, 2 lanes, everyone's jockeying for position. To get to that lane, 35 miles an hour, change it at 40, right at the line. You can go Google Maps, when you do GPS, everything's marked up for you. That's the issue. The issue, and everyone's jockeying for that position. People go to the middle lane, which is the turning lane, to get to Butterworth, to take that left. They drive on that lane, which is against the law, correct, chief? So that's the issue. Take what Lisa was saying.
It's okay.
Council? Anything else?
I mean, I think it's important, it's just that that is not within our purview, but we can support it at the state traffic commission.
Okay.
And hopefully they'll make a decision. I mean, they'll probably, I think it's really good to have all the stuff documented like you're talking about. I mean, it's a very busy area. I've been, unfortunately, over the years, seen a lot and gotten one accident, probably that doesn't condone this, but I think that, they're gonna wanna figure out if it's too close to the other lights, but I think that didn't fill in the area, no question about that.
Is there not something that can go in the road where it would only turn red if somebody was there? I don't know what it's called.
Yeah. Yeah, there is. Yeah, if you,
Like a
there are
sensor.
switches, it's some of the, if you look at some of the lights on our streets and all over the place, you'll see a camera on top of it. And that camera is not a traffic camera. It's a camera. It's to switch the lights from red to green, right? And that's one of the ways it does it. I will say that I appreciate all of you coming because sometimes we'll get a request for something like this, whether it's a street light, a traffic light, and we're not sure if the whole area that's affected by it actually supports it. So it truly does help the council understand and know that it's supported by the neighborhood. So we have the petition in front of us. As Councilman Perella pointed out, it does need to go in front of the State Traffic Commission. It did require this step for our recommendation. I feel like it's going to take that next step. I'm going to ask for a vote in a second. But I liked a couple of points, particularly that you made about the traffic and the routing over there. If the Traffic Commission were to say they can't support a traffic light, there is an opportunity here to make that area better than it is right now.
Yes.
So if nothing else, it certainly needs to be looked at. So
There is also a RIPTA bus stop there in that same area.
darn it, huh? That's a lot going on.
Yeah, so it's
Wow.
a crazy intersection.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Administrator.
I'm going to ask the chief after the meeting if he could have the point of contact from the police department reach out to the petitioner so that is some communication between the traffic commission. There is an investigator that's normally assigned, so they do need a lot of that pertinent data, and they do a thorough traffic study for all of the everything on their agenda. So we'll make sure that if they have any questions, if you have questions, and you also know when their meeting is.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, do you want me to amend my motion to make it a little clearer? I only was referring it to the Traffic Commission. I can refer to Town Administrator, Police Department, DPW
I think we can.
to coordinate with the traffic. State, it's
Certainly
up to
can do
you.
that, I think your words just did that. to be
Okay.
quite honest. So I think you
Awesome.
captured it.
All right, great.
Just a point in regards to the amount of accidents, it truly does make a huge difference on it. That is a big part of how we weigh in on things. So I'll give you an example. There's a street downtown that we looked at quite closely. If a sidewalk crosswalk was necessary, and we looked at the amount of traffic that goes through there, the amount of accidents, we use that data quite strongly. Know that it is one point of many points of data. So I don't think that would stop this from moving forward, that in and of itself, but we do rely on that quite heavily. It's just an important point.
Okay.
But I hear complete agreement, and I'll ask for a vote here in a moment. Anything else on the council?
I concur with the Councilman Sweeney, to include that in the motion.
All right, so
Thank you.
Tim just amended his motion. I heard Tony seconded it. That's outstanding. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Are you staying for the rest of the meeting? No, you can, I didn't ask you to leave, no.
You're more than welcome
giving
to.
you an
Oh,
out,
my
that's
God.
all.
Oh, leave it. We got popcorn.
Yeah. Oh, is the popcorn coming out next?
I'm gonna give everybody a moment.
Oh, wow. Oh, that cleared that.
You're just gonna, so that way they can clear it.
That cleared that. It is. I've sat-
Yeah. Outstanding. Okay, we're going to get back to the meeting, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, the next item on the agenda is Kayla De Silva, 205 Franklin Street, Unit 2. This is a request for council consideration to keep holiday lights installed after Christmas and reactivate for 1 month in June or July.
Welcome, Kayla.
Hi, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we
All right.
can.
My name is Kayla De Silva. I live at 205 Franklin Street, Unit 2, Bristol, and everyone left. So, all right. So I'm here to float by an idea for your consideration that I really think will have a positive impact on our town. I brought it up in its infancy last year around this time, and then went to business school, scrapped it, and came back with something I think will be a lot more economically feasible, but retain the spirit of my previous idea. So I want to suggest that we leave the string lights on the trees downtown up and off, and then turn them back on again in the few weeks surrounding the 4th of July season. So June, July, pick one of those months. And I believe that that will have a positive impact on our small businesses in the downtown area, on our town morale, and our overall cohesiveness as a community. Studies have shown, and this is real studies that people really did this and then they counted the numbers. Studies have shown that increasing aesthetic lighting, particularly string lighting around businesses, has the potential to increase foot traffic up to 20%, which is no small number. And with the country gearing up for its 250th birthday, I think that that would be a really special way to celebrate our town, the most patriotic town in the country, and to really drive our tourism and our pedestrian traffic into our downtown area, specifically at the peak of our tourist season. As you all know, the 4th of July season, we have the bands. I think we're moving them back to Independence Park.
We might be, yeah.
Maybe,
yeah.
I'm not sure. I heard whispers. So possibly, and if that's the case, people are going to be walking to those concerts and they're going to be walking home from those concerts, but they never just go home. Trust me, I'm driving and I'm spending most of my time trying not to hit anyone. So they walk around, they go downtown, they walk with their families, their kids, their grandmothers, and they look at the downtown area. So I'm suggesting that we give them something additional to look at, and we drive some of that traffic into some of our smaller businesses, especially those that have outdoor seating, or even the ones that have limited indoor seating, but people could still enjoy the establishment from an outdoor side. For example, Gray's Ice Cream. You can get an ice cream cone and then eat it outside, but you're not going to do that if there's no lights because you're not a vampire. So additionally, I wanted to acknowledge some feedback that I know was received from the Department of Public Works and their concern about potential damage to a tree if you're trying to pull on it or take lights off in the summer. And they're right. There is always risk when you're trying to take something down from a tree in the summer. You have heat pressure, you have drought, things like that can weaken the trees and the foliage, the volume. It can cause strain on the tree. But one thing that I feel that the recommendation doesn't necessarily take into consideration is all of the risk to the damage of the integrity of the tree for doing it in the winter. We just don't think about it because we just assume we're going to do it in the winter. But in the winter, you actually have a greater risk of causing damage to the bark and the integrity of the tree because you have frost cracks that occur in the bark. You have that same weight. We don't have the foliage weight, but we have the weight from the snow and the ice on the branches. And you also have something called sun scalding, which occurs more in the winter. So there is risk to doing it in the winter, and we would be saving and avoiding all of that risk if we take a chance on it. I'm not suggesting that we do it all night long. I'm suggesting that we turn it on at sundown, which is what, 8:39, turn it off at midnight. If you're out and about after midnight, go home, go to bed. But I think it'll have a really positive impact, and I'm hoping that it could be considered.
I just had a quick question, not a question, but just a thought. Like, when I was reading this, I mean, it's a good idea. I understand the concerns about the tree, all the leaves on the trees, and
Right.
you'd almost have to string them up separately once everything is in bloom.
Mhm.
But I was wondering, and I was thinking about the 250th as well.
Yeah.
If we couldn't do it on there, and I think it'd be really hard, because if you look at the lights, during the winter, Christmas, they're just kind of like on the branches with nothing else. So I'm just
Right.
wondering if, as an alternative, might consider doing like wrap the tree trunk up to the leaves and not do the whole tree
Yeah,
like
we could
that.
even do red, white, and blue lights.
You know, and so, I mean, that's just something I thought of, like, just to make it a little
Yeah.
festive down there and, you know, make it look special. I mean, that's just a thought that
agree.
popped into my head when I was reading this material.
Yeah, no.
So thank you for thinking about
I
that.
appreciate that. And I think I've heard people discuss potentially, oh, well, if we don't want to do that, maybe we could do red, white, and blue, or just red, or something festive and 4th of July vibes. But maybe that won't be as labor intensive for our partners at the DPW either. So, and I mean, we could potentially work with the 4th of July committee, maybe get something donated or figure out someone to partner with. I didn't look that far down the line, but I think it's worth considering or exploring. And if we don't like it, we never have to do it again. You know?
The
We're trying it for a
DPW
month.
director, Chris Perella, was supposed to be here this evening to speak a little bit more specifically on it.
Mhm.
But his daughter had a baby last night.
Oh,
and isn't that wonderful?
congratulations.
So he is with her and the family, which makes total sense to us.
Absolutely.
What was shared with us, as you probably know, was a recommendation, 2 recommendations, or 3 actually, to deny based off a few things. One was the cost, right? And you actually addressed one of the concern, which is once the leaves are up, pulling them off, you're
Right.
damaging leaves. You're also, what was shared with us, and it makes sense, is that you can't see the lights when the leaves are there to a level that you could right now because there's nothing there to block the light. But there was something that I would ask Chris Perella to weigh more in on, or the administrator, if he would so choose. And we can certainly continue this if the council's okay with it to our next meeting. But it was talking about when they're on there for a long time, when they're on there now, we have to do a lot of repairs.
Okay.
That 6 months would probably do that much more damage to them. But I'm certainly not an expert in regards to that. And I know that we as a town switched from the regular lights, incandescent ones, to LED.
Yes.
That was a pretty significant cost, but we're hoping for that savings because we reuse them now.
Right.
It's a higher quality wire, but again, being out there for that time may be a concern. So
That's a good point.
I
And
love
then that
Santa
could
Claus,
build
so just
pride,
for
yeah.
clear, this is not about not liking the lights and all of that. So, but I would love to hear more from our DPW director, and also for you to hear more from the
Yeah.
DPW director because it was your petition.
I mean,
So-
as far as seeing the lights, I've never seen a naked Christmas tree. They all have leaves on them and I see the lights on them, and I'm not that tall. So I think that we'd be able to see them when they're lit up. I think we would. I could be wrong, but I think we would. And there are towns that do this. So if we look at Florida, a lot of towns near Captiva, Cape Coral, those areas have that type of lighting in their downtown areas because of the tourism. And it's Florida, so none of their trees are bald, and you can see all the lights on them. So I think you would be able to see them. As far as maintenance, I'll defer to his expertise, but I like your idea, wrapping around the pole. That's not something you'd have to maintain. It's probably a lot easier and quicker, just wrapping it around. And it's probably less of a hassle to do it in the summer versus the winter when everyone's cold.
So, Council.
Yes,
please.
just a reminder that the lights will be on through the end of January.
Yes.
I know you had asked for an extra month in addition to January. Is that?
Well, around the
am I
4th
to
of
read-
July. So maybe when
Right.
the bands are. So June, I think that's when the bands are. Or maybe we turn them on the week before the 4th of July and turn them off the end of July. Something around festive 4th of July season. But I am glad they're going to be on through the end of January because I do think they're pretty.
Well, as Mr. Chairman pointed out, what can cause between now and June or July? Obviously, it could be a lot of damage, and you're talking about a great expanse. I know I was on that end as the TA, as the town administrator, and it's not a cheap deal when it comes to labor and materials and all of that, to keep the lights out that long, in terms of doing something, wrap the pole, maybe the light poles rather than the trees, in July, rather than the entire trees, because I hear what you're saying, you can see, and I know what you're talking about in Florida, because I happened to be there when the lights were on, but you're not going to get the same display here because of the amount of foliage on these trees.
Gotcha.
It's a wholly different type of tree that you're dealing with.
Yeah. Well, I really liked your wrapping it around the pole idea. I'd be happy to amend it to that.
I think that you might
Yeah.
want to think about, like, if it gets put off to another meeting.
Okay.
Think about like other alternatives.
Okay.
And then maybe like if there was a collaboration, I mean, certainly, you know, like we switched a few years ago to a little bit bigger bulbs for the Christmas.
Mhm.
So I don't think those would work well to wrap around. I think you need to have the more smaller little twilight bulbs maybe.
Okay.
And so you know, so that would mean we'd have to purchase that if somebody, you know, wanted to incorporate it as part of either, you know, they put the hanging baskets, the flower baskets up that group, or someone else like the Fourth of July committee, something like that that would help offset the expenses of like purchasing the materials. I think that's where that, you know, and then what areas you would want to put that in. Like you know, a long time ago, the downtown Christmas was a little bit more blocks, but then we had some electrical issues, so there it's more compacted into the center of town. So I think that would be nice for you guys to come back, or it's just you, or if you have a committee, but
I don't have a committee.
Oh, okay.
I'm just passionate about lights.
I give you a lot of credit for doing this, like, and, you know, just come back with some other maybe thoughts about
Okay.
like what else could be an alternative to
Yeah,
get.
no, I appreciate that. I'll keep working on it. I'll come back.
We have another,
Uh-huh.
obviously another concern is the administrator and the DPW director had shared cost involved in this.
Mm.
And in 2025, just what we do already is $63,000 is what we spend.
Okay.
So we would need to budget and spend money to be, so if we're spending it for 2 months there, then you can obviously do the math. It would be a lot more,
Right.
along with electrical cost, along with maintenance costs. So it's actually would be more than that. And that was actually $83,413 was the combined total from 25, 26. So huge money, what we do already. And it's beautiful,
It is beautiful.
but multiplying that by 6 becomes maybe untenable, to be quite
Okay.
honest. So,
I mean, that's fair.
but let's wait for, if the council is amenable to it,
Yeah.
I think we should continue this to give the DPW director an opportunity to express a little bit more about it. And if you had any questions for him directly, that'd be a great time to be able to do that.
Okay. Thank you for listening.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Of course, Mr. Administrator.
Oh, we gotta take them.
Yeah, you're right on the numbers, but that included the capital upgrades. So
Thank you. Thank you.
So that
Thank
wouldn't
you.
be every year.
So it wouldn't be every year.
Right.
Thank you. We, as Mary had pointed out a little bit earlier, we had to do some tremendous upgrades to the electrical. And that was included in that, as the administrator just pointed out. So thank you, Mr.
But so, by the way, there's also, Bristol also has a 250th committee. That
that's a
Elaine
good
White
idea.
chairs, so
Okay.
there's like different people you might want
Yeah.
to, could touch base
I'm
with.
gonna try to make some friends, see what we can
Yeah.
figure out. All right.
Outstanding. I like it.
Thank you.
Can we have a motion to continue to our next meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Mary, seconded by Tony. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Thank you for your passion.
Yes.
Thank you, Karen.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, the next item on the agenda is G1. This is the Assistant Harbor Master's one-year terms set to expire January 2027. And you have the recommendation from Harbor Master Marsili.
Based on the recommendation from.
One sec.
Yes, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. The harbor master and I spoke a little bit earlier, and actually, and the clerk and I spoke a little later than that. I asked the harbor master, Greg, to come up and address the council on giving us some clarity, because the way these positions are appointed by us are a little bit different, as we all know, than a regular board or commission, because they're employees. And there's a couple of extra steps, but we had a list of who was there last year versus the recommendations from the harbor master. So Greg, could you just give us some clarity on what you're looking for on this?
So, the list that was provided by the clerk's office is a little different than my list I've recommended. There's some people missing on there. We had a few people that had bowed out from that previous list that the clerk's office gave. So the list in front of you, minus, Dave Burton, I hate to put him on the spot, but I meant to take him off because he has no interest in being reappointed.
Greg, just for clarity, you said the list in front of us, you gave us a memo. It says Bristol Harbor Master Office, December 30th, 2025.
Correct.
Right, that's the list.
That's the list.
And
that-
remove David Girton Senior from that.
And
Is that
remove
correct?
David Girton Senior from that list. These are the people that are shown interest back to me that they want to come back and continue to work. Most of them been there for 8, 10, 12 years now. A few just started last year. So that's why there's a difference on this list and the auxiliary harbor master list.
So, does
So
that make
what do
sense,
we,
council?
yeah,
It
so
does.
do we just need a motion to approve the list, and then just removing Dave Girton?
Yeah, appoint
Okay.
the recommendations from the.
Or the
harbor master
recommendations of the harbor
Yeah.
master?
Minus David Grogan. All right, that was a motion from Tim. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion seconded by Tony. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Don't move.
Mr. Chairman, members of the council, the next item on the agenda is G2. This is the auxiliary harbor master's appointments to fill one-year terms set to expire January 2027, as well with the recommendation from Harbor Master Masterly.
So on this one, we had one auxiliary harbor master move out of town, and due to the town charter says auxiliary and assistant harbor masters need to move into town. That's the why Jonathan Medeiros came off the list. Between my recommendation dated January 1st and the list that the clerk's office provided. So Jonathan Medeiros has moved out of town, so he can't be appointed anymore.
So your list included Patrick Bethline, Justin Charest, Melissa Benavides, Paul Padula, and Thomas Lake.
Correct.
That is your recommendation.
That is my recommendation for auxiliary harbor masters.
Thank you. Council?
For the recommendations of the harbor master, make a motion to approve as stated.
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony, as stated. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is G3. This is the Northeast Burial Grounds Commission. This is appointments to fill 2 5-year terms set to expire January 2031. And we have Ed Carusi with interest in reappointment.
Make a motion to reappoint Ed Carusi.
Second.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Mary, as stated. Any discussion?
Yes, just briefly. There's one more individual there that is also his term expires this month. Did he provided you?
We did send him notification for reappointment. We just haven't received that back yet. And so we're just waiting for that to come back. And we did also get another application today. So you will see that on the February 7th council agenda meeting. So they will be on there.
Okay.
It's just, I'm sorry, January
January
28th.
27th, 28th.
January 28th. Yeah.
Mhm.
So it was just a
Okay.
late response. We didn't have enough time to put it on there. So it will be on the next meeting.
No problem.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. This is the part where I say thank you to our boards and commissions. Looks like it's Ed tonight. Thank you, Ed. But thank you to all our board and commission members for what you do for the town. It does not go unnoticed, and this council and town says thank you.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, the next item on the agenda is H1. This is discussion and possible action from a council request for Harbor Commission Chair and Harbor Master to coordinate review of the CRMC applications for harbor planning. This was continued from September 10th.
Mr. Gennaro, how are you?
I'm Steve Gennaro. Hi, my name is Steve Gennaro. I'm on the Bristol Harbor Commission. And I'm here tonight to discuss, there's been an uptick in construction and applications for residential and private docks in Bristol. We live in a waterfront community. We live in a very desirable area real estate wise. So as these waterfront properties and homes get sold, new people come in, they buy them obviously because they're on the waterfront, but also because if they can, they're going to want to put their own private dock in. And I know that's raised some concerns with.
It's exactly right. Yeah, this council had some discussion if going back just a little bit.
Sure.
And it was that we saw that, as you've already said, an influx in applications to and asking for town and harbor
Yeah,
commission
what-
input.
What is, any impacts?
And it was stated by this whole council. I would
Sure.
say Mary was the driving force on that one, but
Okay.
saying that what's going on? What can we expect? Is there anything that we're not doing that we should be? Should we be considering areas that are more sensitive than others?
Okay.
And certainly you and I've spoken,
Sure.
and you've done a lot of homework here.
Yeah, so what I did is just to try to put basically an educational packet for all of us together. So what I'll do is in the packet, I'll just go over it first. If you have your packet in front of you, what you'll have there first is I highlighted 4 topics, which I feel would be your greatest concerns. Okay. you have those there. We'll get back to those. Then I put in street by street, neighborhood by neighborhood, the amount of open lots, waterfront lots that have no docks. And I numbered them, Surf Drive 9, Prairie Road 9, and we'll go over that. That's the next piece in your packet. And then I went on and CRMC site, and you have basically a checklist, what it takes, what coastal resources management wants. It's a checklist for what a homeowner has to go through to install, construct the dock. It's pretty lengthy. The next piece to your packet says recreational docks and trends and status. That's from Daniel Goulet. He's an engineer for CRMC, and he basically touches on all the environmental requirements that they check before this dock. It's pretty detailed. And lastly, in the packet is probably 10 or 12 maps. I couldn't print one big map, so I broke it down into neighborhoods, Kippanuit, Papa Squash, and you can see I labeled them all. And basically, and these pictures are from 2025 of the spring. So it basically shows you all the lots that have no docks and the amount of docks that are already in place in each neighborhood. Just a good visual to see what we're going to talk. And that's from these maps is how I got the amount of docks per street. So that's what's in your packet. So then we'll back that up and I'll go. Basically, I touched on, I highlighted 4 concerns, which I think would be concerns of yours. One would be public access, the process and what's required from the owner by CRMC, navigational impacts, and environmental. So if we start with public access, and if you go to that checklist, that first checklist from CRMC, and you go to the last page on that, and these are I'm just touching, we could be here all night, so I'm just touching on some basic.
Are you threatening us, Steve?
No, yeah. So if you look at that last page and and I highlighted it, it shows for public access, if there's a dock that's going over the beach, you have to have 5 feet from the bottom stringer to mean high tide. So someone's able to walk under the dock as they're walking along the shoreline. If that's not available, then it could build a bridge so they go over the dock. You don't see that a lot. The other way is that person has the right to go up off the beach on that person's property, walk around, get back down to the beach and along the way. So they do address that. So that's there. The next one, we'll jump over to navigational impacts. And that's, I believe, on the 3rd page. Yes, that's on the 3rd page. So they look at the whole, they'll come down and they'll look at the actual location where they want to put the dock. They'll look at seawalls, the jetties, piers, whatever is existing there, the buildings, driveways, the boundaries, reporting rights. And then as if you go to the bottom of that page, they're also going to go look further out, and they're going to look if that dock is going to cause navigation problem. Is that dock going to go into a channel that's focused? And there's certain buoys. So they're going to look at all that. And I'm just pointing these things that they are definitely going to cover. The next one would be environmental. If you go to that packet by Daniel Goulet, he gets into detail on all the environmental process that they look at. He gets into so he gets into all the subaquatic vegetation, soil erosion, wetlands. If there's eelgrass, then that dock has to be built a certain way. Again, we could get into details. Very detailed information on what they do as far as checking the environment where that dock starts out. And then lastly, it's what's required and the process. So the process is pretty, I think CRMC does a pretty good job. They do it case by case, situation by situation. They look at where it's going to be built. And you can see just from this checklist, and this is not a simple task if you want to build a dock. You have to have a site plan, you have to hire an engineer. The dock has to be built to certain standards with certain materials. you also have to have 25 feet from your boundary lines at each side. So the dock has to fall in the, where it falls in the middle of the lot, you have to have at least 25 feet. If you don't have that, then you need a variance. Which could cause, like, some of these lots down on like Riverview, Slocum, the ones in the Kickapoo, they're very small lots, so I don't know how many of those would even pass for that, because the lot, I don't think they have the 25 feet on each side. Not all lots, but there's a lot of those lots along the Kickapoo River, they have small. Versus on the Popscore side, where lots of bigger, and it probably wouldn't be a problem. The bottom line is, when someone goes through this process, CRMC does do a very thorough job. As you can see, for just the 2 packets I gave you, there's a lot for the homeowner to accomplish. Just hiring the engineer, all the different, there's 3 pages here that they have to go through. And lastly, it's an expensive proposition. From what I found out asking around, a basic to build a dock, say, on the Kickapoo side, Kickapoo River, which is probably the smallest standard dock, you're probably looking at $80,000 to $100,000. Now, if you take a dock on the Pop, where the weather is much more severe, the rates are rougher, more wind, so that dock's going to be having to built with different standards. You'd be looking well up to $250,000. So at the end of the day, I think CRMC does a pretty thorough job. It's not a cheap proposition to do. And I actually, if you get back to the amount of docks, there's 165 lots that I counted up in Bristol that have no docks on them, waterfront lots that have no docks. Now, out of that 165, I don't know how many will have a dock in the future, but they have to go through all this process. So it's tough to say, but I think given if someone wants to do this, I feel confident that CRMC is doing their job. And lastly, everyone that does get approved does get sent down to the Harbor Commission and the council. We know what's going on. We get a chance to have a say on it if we feel there's something on a local level that maybe they missed. Chances are they didn't, but hopefully that what I just went over, I kind of touched on that quickly, but I hope that answers some of your questions. And if you have any questions.
Well, I'll say for the
I
council,
have a
you did a
question.
tremendous amount of work
Yeah.
here, so
Yeah,
thank you.
and like we could spend all night, there's so much detail to this, but hopefully these packets that I gave you, if you have any questions, just go through them. They'll probably answer your question.
Well, here it is.
Mary?
Well, I just, thank you for doing this. It's really interesting to see and put a lot of work together. I mean, obviously the number of potential docks that can be built by street, I actually thought it included whatever was there. So that's in addition, that would be a different column if you would have put the
So,
number of docks
yeah.
on, right?
I don't know how many are already
Yeah.
built. I didn't add up. I was told it could be built.
I would say that, I mean, this assumes that everybody who has a house on the water will have a boat and will want a dock. So, I mean, it's not going to be as many as that, but
Yeah.
I mean, I'm wondering in some of these areas, particularly the ones on the Kickapoo, does the town, I don't even know if this is right, does the town have a right to say, we're going to limit and put this many docks in there? Or people could collaborate, like you said, there's one community dock on
Yeah, so
Riverview
if you look at, I think on,
and one on Anchorage Way.
yeah, they have a community dock.
Yeah, I mean, that
36.
would be, I was thinking about, like, that would be a good way for people that wanted that to collaborate, where you might, so you don't have to have 35 on King Philip, maybe you'd have 4 in different sections, something like that. I don't know if the town has a right to
Andy.
say that or not.
Can you weigh in on that question? The question was, could the town limit in areas or at all?
As I hear the discussion and whatnot, I think
this is your goal to talk about, right now you have an ad hoc policy. You get a notice from CRMC. What are we doing about this dock? Are we for it, against it? We have various stuff, but I think you could do it, but it would have to be part of a comprehensive examination of the harbor management plan to do it, so that people are aware of it in advance, and you'd have to set it out in advance and, define almost like an overlay zone. These are areas of limited docks. I don't know how much CRMC would approve it, because they really do control it. They have the jurisdiction, and they control it somewhat by their designation of the type of coastal waters. Whether they would also allow a further requirement of that, it's a maybe. I mean, the problem with that community dock is getting everybody to pay for it.
Right.
Essentially, the town's gonna be the one to pay for it. It's almost gonna be like a water service line. The town will pay and then bill it, but a lot of people say, well, I don't want a dock. Why should I have to pay for it?
Yeah.
So that's the problem, but I think if you were gonna do it, you'd have to do it through the harbor management plan.
Yeah, I think, and that one on Anchorage Way, that's, those houses are built up from
Yeah,
the, from the.
From the water.
Cape River.
yeah.
And then they own that land that kind of jetties down into the water. So what they did is they just built a dock for that, whatever it is, 6 or 8 houses. And it's more of a transient thing for them. They're not only in house.
So, I know it would be complicated in the sense of who would be in ownership as houses get sold, that kind of thing, or how you would
Yeah,
structure the finance. I'm just thinking for some of these smaller streets with the smaller lot sizes, it might be down the road. I mean, the thing would be is like, what can you assume? If you're assuming 10%, might put a dock in, that's like maybe one person in it or whatever, then it's not, what, 5%, then it's not an issue. It's just like, when you look at some of the numbers, like 35 on King Philip, that's a lot.
yeah, there's
Yeah,
that many Van Dams, or that many available.
yeah.
It's I mean, if somebody buys a home, and I don't know if anybody can answer this, but I think they pay taxes on their home, but I think there's a separate tax for the dock. Am I correct? I wanted
I
to find
don't
that.
believe so. I believe it would just be the value of the property
Just the value.
is increased
I didn't know if
accordingly.
there was a tax.
A
on
surcharge, if you will.
Well, like a separate structure, so
No,
it's-
that would
I
be
don't know if
interesting.
that's a case. Not sure if there is.
My understanding, it is not. It would
Okay.
just be considered the overall value. of the
Oh, got it. I like to Andy's point, CRMC controls this. My own feeling is I think they do a pretty good job. I think they're very thorough. And I don't think out of those 165 total lots without, docks on them, it's very expensive. It's a pretty grueling process. I don't know if there's really gonna be a problem with that, my own opinion.
Steve, how many do we have? These are the possible ones. How many do we have currently
I
already
didn't add
installed?
that up.
Oh, you didn't?
I was just
Okay,
looking at the potential, what could be.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't add how many are there.
how many we currently have already installed? Okay, because that's my concern every time we get one of these before us is, as you pointed out, public access, and you stated, well, if they build one, there has to be so people can still walk under
Mhm.
and have access to the area where they may be built. Am I correct?
That's
Am
right.
I
If
understand?
they build a dock,
Right,
they're either gonna be able to walk under it, over it, or they're gonna have to walk around. But it has to be, they can't block the beach, so to speak.
right, because I mean, the way I view this or, my feeling about it is that we keep increasing in the number, and I hear, CRMC might be doing a good job. I'm not questioning that
Mhm.
as much as the access to the public to the waterfront.
Which
That's
they-
my concern, that
Yeah.
over the years, we keep going, okay, slowly and surely we keep giving up. Yes, yeah, they meet the criteria and we keep moving. But, that concerns me a little bit.
I think it would be a good little project, and I'm just looking at Diane over there, but not for you. I was gonna say like a student, like a high school or a college student. I mean, I don't know what you call it in this day and age, but in the old days, it was called like a windshield survey, just going by and looking and counting how many docks there are on these streets. Is not really not that many streets.
If you see those maps I gave you, that's
Yeah.
GIS. You just.
Oh, you can see it right there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you just go neighborhood and you just count.
Oh, okay.
That's how I got the number without.
Oh, okay. Oh, you can see the docks right there.
Yeah,
You
you
don't
can.
have to go to the road.
So-
Okay.
If you just, it won't take that long to just go neighborhood by neighborhood and just count them up. And
Yeah,
you'll
so
know how
it's-
many docks are existing.
So Shore Road, it looks like there's 5 right now. For example, that's just what I opened up to, so,
Yeah,
yeah, that would be interesting, just make that a
Yeah.
column there, yeah, to do that.
you can wait, you may be able to, if it's clear enough, you might be able to do it right from the maps I gave you.
Yeah.
Because yeah, they're all there.
It's interesting you provided this to us because believe it or not, that was one of my questions, if we could get an aerial view. But
Yeah,
you,
this is
you
from-
did that
this is
already,
from this
exactly.
area.
So it's already done, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, I understand if you're someone coming into town, you buy a waterfront lot, and you have the means to have a private dock, then, it's
It's a fair
it's
expectation.
a fair expectation for
Right.
them
Sure.
to want to do that, you know.
Diane, we could just get there'd be a GIS layer or something like that where we could just count up the number of docks with the GIS, right?
Yes, and I think, I don't know if Greg is still here, but I recall that in the harbor management plan, we had an inventory of docks because we had GPSed all the docks and we listed where they were. So that would probably just have to be updated with all the new ones that have come online, but I think we do have a listing.
I think it'd be
Sure.
kind of nice, like, not to put pressure on people to do it like quick, but just print this out and just handwrite the number of docks
Yeah.
that we currently have, like 2
It could be-
columns. And I think that would be nice. It would be helpful to see how many there are actually are, potential of how many, I mean,
Steve, I just want to say
Sure.
thank you for the comprehensive taking us through this process because
Oh,
it seems like it's very comprehensive. I mean, the harbor master, the harbor commission, then the CRMC, and
Yeah.
you've talked about public access, the environmental impacts,
Yeah.
possible conflicts with moorings and things like that. So it seems like it's a pretty good process. So what I'm hearing is we need to just monitor at this point. And to my other colleagues, I think Tony and Mary, maybe try to find out what the number is.
I mean, I can easily
Um,
get that number if you want. It's
Mhm.
pretty simple to do it.
Mhm.
So if you need that, what's existing, I can always get that number and communicate through Nathan
Sure.
and
And I'll convey it to, or the clerk, actually. That'd be fine. You can-
however you want.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Councilman,
yeah,
you
just-
wanted to say something?
No, I just had a quick question for Steve. Steve, it sounds like, again, thank you. Everybody here is really happy with the work that you guys do and everything like that. And we all understand how much work this stuff can be. In terms of the checklist that CRMC has put together and
Yes.
everything like that, are you pretty satisfied that everything in there is sufficient? It sounds like you are. Is there
I think
anything that
so.
needs to be added
Yeah,
or anything like
I-
that?
I was actually, I didn't realize, I learned a lot. I learned a lot myself. I think the checklist that they have to do is pretty thorough. I mean, if you're gonna get into building one of these docks, there's a lot to it. As you can see, there's 3-4 pages here. It's hiring an engineer, it's getting an engineer to design a plan. You have to go through all the, what environmentally, what's there. And then if you do have something that's concerned, the dock has to be built a certain way, there's an added cost. Certain materials have to be used, you can't just throw the dock up, has to be certain width. You have to meet the setbacks, and then there's the cost.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
How about like,
Big financial.
just another quick, we haven't really touched on it, but like, is there anything in there about like density or anything like that? Because I think that that's the concern that like folks
Cars.
have. Are we going to have like
Well-
jet skis all over the place or something like that? Because, like in the Mount Hope Bay when people are trying to quahog and that kind of thing, like,
Yeah, they get into, what's there existing, what does it look like now?
Yeah.
What other docks are there? They don't get into the process of a decision on that, but they do look at all that. How that, it doesn't really explain how.
and I suppose like if we're like looking at these things on a case by case basis, there might come a time where we kind of realize that it is starting to get a little bit too much. And
There
then
could be areas in town where maybe that does affect whether it gets approved or not. It's tough to say at this point.
Yeah. Okay.
That is a possibility, I suppose.
Yeah. Thank you.
Anything else from the council? Steve, thank you
You're
for
welcome.
the immense
Thank
amount of
you.
work
Thank you.
that
Yeah,
you
it's
did
good.
here. This, we're gonna
Okay.
Hopefully
look
it's
through it.
helpful.
It is
Yeah.
very helpful.
Very helpful.
So,
If you need any other questions, I can be a help, and thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Council, just need to receive and file.
Receive and file?
Second?
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Thanks again.
So Chairman and members of the council, the next item on the agenda is I1. This is consideration to adopt the resolution 2026-107 I1. This is for the off-season parking at Marina Ferry Dock fee modification from the town ordinance of $150 per month to a resolution at $125 per month.
Motion to adopt resolution?
Second?
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is I2. This is Town Clerk Kadira. These are proposed amendments to the background criminal investigation policy that was recently adopted on November 12th. If I may.
Of course.
So there's also a received at meeting. The council will see a revised attachment A that is part for page 6. The revision on this is just to make a correction to the special constables and fire police for the requirement of the BCI upon annual appointment that is not required. So that's the revision from the one that was in the council packet. The council will note that there's just a couple of minor adjustments made to the BCI policy, mainly for clarity. The first clarification of the first amendment would be on page 2 on the last bullet, just to add a line that says, or as referenced in attachment A. And the other revision is on page 3, which also adds a bullet to how to handle BCI results for the cases where there's disqualifying information or a record on the BCI form that is received from the actual candidate at a board and commission. If it's not one of the actual disqualifying information that's listed in the BCI, for example, I think murder or first felony or crimes of theft. But if it's something that is on the record that is not listed there, this gives the council the opportunity to review those applications. So that just allows clarity in that particular section of the BCI policy. And then there's just the amendment to page 5 that notes that there's an amendment to the actual BCI.
Thank you. Council?
I just had a quick question. Does the red mean anything in particular? No, is it just highlighted it so you're looking like some are in red, some are in? I was looking for that code
No, that's more for an internal.
just to.
It's
okay.
just an
And then
internal.
I got the answer because I saw the fee for $5. This is just the regular like state BCI that you get. It's not the national fingerprinting. Okay.
Any other questions?
No question, but just comments. Thank you for the chart. It's certainly is very helpful.
Yeah.
And also, with the BCI, the way it's set up, it provides transparency and consistency as we go through those, the background checks. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well said, Tony.
Just need a motion, please.
Motion to refer to the solicitor, the prep for
No.
first
I think
reading.
it's just,
No,
We
just
need-
adopt.
Because
the
it's a
amended
resolution, we
policy.
just need a
Got
resolution.
you. Make
to
it
adopt
easy.
the amended resolution, right?
So I'll, good.
Yeah.
The
I heard
chairman
that from
just,
Tony.
yes.
Was that a motion? Okay.
Yes, here it is.
Okay, second.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim to adopt as stated. Any discussion? Chief DeMello, thank you. You actually reached out to me about the fire police, which brought our attention to a couple of those that we changed accordingly. So thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is I3. This is Town Clerk Adiro. This is for council consideration to amend and authorize the number of Class BV liquor licenses from 33 to 32. And this is due to the non-renewal and closure of the Baba Sushi on 205 Thames Street.
Motion to refer to the solicitor to draft the first reading to reduce the BV class license from 33 to 32.
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony, as stated. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is I4. This is Town Administrator Contente with the project update for municipal projects calendar year 2025.
This is probably our longest agenda item. There's a lot of things we've got going on here. Mr. Administrator?
Yeah, this is just a brief explanation of some of the projects we've accomplished this calendar year. So that was January 25 to December 31st, 25. You know, I was talking actually with Councilman Texera about a couple of the projects. He actually asked for the entire council to be updated on it. So I broke it down into categories. The first was infrastructure, transportation, and public works. I don't know if you want me to go through all of them, but if you have any
Hit the
questions.
highlights if you would, because there's so much going on here. I think it's wonderful to put it out there.
Burnside Street, that was a Rhode Island Commerce grant. That's underway. The surface course will be completed in the spring, but the binder is down, the curbing is in. There's still a section of curbing on the east end that needs to be replaced, but that can still be done. So that's going well. Road resurfacing, most of the streets were done. There's a few left. Mason Farm has several, and the reason for the holdup there is the drainage work. So DM required BMP's best management practice for water quality. So they're underground systems at some of the ends of the streets to clean the water, clean the runoff before it goes out into Monhope Bay. The highlight and the best part of that is the residents now in that neighborhood will no longer have to have those property-owned storm drains on their driveways. So that was required by CRMC. Diane worked for quite a while. Diane Williamson did a great job with CRMC, and they approved the plan for the road paving as long as we put those BMPs in. So although we didn't finish this year, I think the neighborhood should be happy that we did make an investment.
Yeah, that's great.
So also Kingswood Road needs to be done. They put a BMP there also on I think it's Clifton at Kingswood. There's a BMP there now. Sandy Lane needs to be done, Birchwood, Betsy, but all the rest were completed. Gooding Avenue sidewalks, another Rhode Island Commerce grant. We're just waiting for a bench to be swapped out at the new bus shelter on Hope Street near the Defiance Fire Station.
Mr. Administrator, I want to stop there just for one moment. This is a great example of the town doing state work. So Gooding Avenue, I'm going to call it what it is we had a recent meeting with our reps and senators, as we do on a yearly basis. They had asked us to do, and this was one of the examples that was brought up, is that this is not the town's responsibility. This is the state's responsibility. And if you're sitting there thinking, well, then why did the town do it? Because the state did not. And there's some of the sidewalks, and I'm not speaking of Gooding here at the moment, on Hope Street were so bad that people were going to get hurt. And we weren't going to sit there and based off I don't know, pride or wait another 30 years, and that's not too much of a stretch on that. So I just wanted to say that the hard work that went into getting the grants to get this done, and then the work that was actually done was quality, was truly not the town's responsibility, but it is at the same time. Even though it should be the state, we were not going to let this go. So hats off to all that did that. Thank you.
I have on here the holiday lighting. That was actually, as the chairman said earlier, between last fiscal year and this fiscal year, we spent about $85,000. So that's all new circuits, new drops with meters, and it's all safe. Some of the wiring there was from the 1950s, from what we could tell. So it's all safe, and all the Christmas lights now are cut to size, so we're able to install them easier. So that was done, including Lower State Street. The long-awaited anticipated lighting on Asylum Road. So we did one light with the money that we had, and that's at the entrance of the Quinta Gamlin, the community center, the rec center. And we have a meeting. We're working on setting up a meeting with Rhode Island DOT. And we're going to we'd like to coordinate with them. We own the entrance into Colt State Park, but the state owns the exit. State has no interest in adding lights or bringing the lights back. So we're trying to urge them to do it. But if not, we'll continue to
Do the states work?
yeah, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, so true.
Church Street Dock, the fire chief helped the harbor master in getting that project completed. It was the fire suppression system extending the line for the fire hose. That was done. Sherry Avenue drainage improvements. We're doing phase one now on Highview Avenue. It's ongoing, which is in widening and improving the detention basin that's there. That's part of phase one. We'll also be working on, when we're done with that, we'll be on Varnum Street. We'll be improving the detention basin on Varnum. And that all contributes or collects water from Sherry Avenue. Phase two would be Sherry Avenue and a section on Varnum Street. Do some improvements on Sherry Avenue. Leahy Pond, some of the invasive plants were removed. The property was surveyed. Unauthorized structures were removed from town property. We just call them cattails, but forget the proper term. Diane, what are they called? Phragmites were
I like
removed.
cattails better.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll be able to ice skate there again. Bayview Avenue, the greenhouse property, EPA has taken it over with their own funding now, so we used all of our money. And Nick Toth from planning has been working with EPA to do another phase, but the EPA does have some money for us, but they've taken on the project, which is a good thing. And it's looking good. That was leftover pesticides from the nursery that was there. Well, this is a good one. Now I'm starting to get excited about reporting. Started slow, but I'm going to speed up.
And there is good reason to get excited about it, under your leadership and with our support. It's impressive,
Oh,
the
that's
list
right.
of projects.
I appreciate working with you. Thank you. You say you're watching us, but you say go, which is good. 270 trees we planted this year. So that was
That's incredible.
that was a grant through the infrastructure bank. That was a grant for most of them. 200 of them were through the grant. And I didn't put it in here, but again, state property, but we took care of it. The entrance into town, across from Roger Williams University, we got all those little trees planted in there.
Yeah.
That's not included, but I thought of it afterwards. But 270 trees around town. We're removing them, but we're also planting them. So
It's beautiful.
Oh, I have to do it. We had to fight the state to put those trees there because pushback was it was difficult to cut the lawn
yeah.
over
So
there.
yeah,
But
we had to get a physical alteration permit. And part of their issue was mowing the grass around it. So now we have to remind them to cut the grass around it. Wally School reuse project. So there's been an awful lot of work in there. The building, it was vacant for 30 years, so you can imagine what it was like. Everything is replaced. The sprinkler system's done. The HVAC is done. When I say done, it's all rough done. It's being prepped now for sheetrock. But going back to all the mechanical plumbing, electrical, alarm system, camera systems, everything has been replaced. And we had to actually raise the building up on the inside. So people are wondering what's going on there. But again, I like to tell a story. When we originally tried to get the building back online, you remember what the bids were, $7-8 million. It was too much. We didn't have the money. So we decided to contract it ourselves, number of bids. So every phase of this project was bid, as you recall, electrical, plumbing. I'm missing some of it, the mill work inside. Actually, today you're opening up a bid for the rear drainage work and parking lot. But we're about Diane, what was the last number? I know you just had a meeting with the capital projects.
Say 4.5.
We're at 4.5. Most of it's all grant funds that we're getting for the project. So it's a success story. We're saving about $3 million doing it ourselves. It's taking a little bit longer, but it's getting done.
Yeah. It's
What's-
going to be beautiful when it's done.
After 30 years, what's another year, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's too bad that safe was empty.
Yeah. The library makerspace, and the good thing about the grant that we got through the Learn 365 program, the community learning spaces, they replaced all the rooftop units on the new library, which is a big savings for the town. And we have that maker space on the second floor. That's I think they started painting, so that's almost done. The fitness room floor was replaced at the rec center. That was in the capital projects plan. The much discussed canine grass at the animal shelter, that's done. The Quello Park playground replacement, we're waiting for parts for the swing set, but the playground's down and the wood chips are in.
And 120 acres.
Right,
Wow.
yeah, and then we
Pretty
did
cool.
close
Sure.
on the Mount Hope lands this year, which was,
Yeah.
I put that under land conservation and open space, so 120 acres this year. And I'm sure there's others, but these are the highlights that's just one calendar year, what we
It's
accomplished.
outstanding.
Yeah,
Definitely appreciate, the report and certainly, highlights, for the folks in town that much is happening, so. No,
Thanks for bringing
definitely
it
all
up.
the projects.
Again,
yeah.
thank you for your support.
Well,
It's
thank you for
it's
your
a nice little
leadership.
cheat sheet to have too, I think, if I can't tell you how many times people just like stop
What's
you at
going on?
church or something like that, and they'll be like, hey, like what's going on with this project or that project? And sometimes, the town administrator is really responsive about getting back to us and things like that, but to have that in our pockets would be nice. Yeah.
Definitely.
Thank you. So we just need to receive and file from the council, please.
So moved.
Second,
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony. All in favor?
Aye.
with a big thank
Discussion.
you, for putting it together for us.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to ask that again. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, the next item on the agenda is I-5. This is Fire Chief DeMello with a request for authorization to order a new ladder 1 for the fire department.
Chief?
Good evening, everyone. Hard to believe that we're closing in on almost 20 years for this ladder truck that we currently have, as I remember it coming in brand new. It's even harder to believe that 43 years ago, I sat in a classroom at Mount Carmel School and watched the last new truck
Wow.
drive by when we first got that one.
Wow.
Later rode
Yeah.
that to fire. So this will be the third ladder truck in my career for the town. But it works out to the average, about 21, 22 years is where we end up having to replace the ladder truck. Again, we only have one. So want to make sure it's functional and working properly. And that's the point we're at this juncture. It's currently taking about 3 years to get a truck from date of order. So we would be looking at taking delivery of this and budgeting for it sometime after July 1 of 2028. Best case scenario right now, I'm thinking we'd be lucky to see it by January of 29. But to be perfectly honest, I think it's safer to budget for the 28, July 1, 28 timeframe. There are some towns that are I know waiting almost 4 years for the trucks to come in. And, the millions of excuses that are given, pick one and go with it. But at the end of the day, there's just a line of people getting trucks built. Raw material delays, things like that, and that's why it's taken so long. Certainly $2.1 million is a lot more than it was in 1983 when we bought that ladder truck. But that's the going rate. An engine today is about half of that, probably 1 to 1.2 million for the fire engine. Same one that we replaced a short time ago for about 850,000 is now roughly $300,000 more. So fortunately, it seems like the price increases have slowed down a little bit back to their pre-COVID annual 3 to 5% increase over a year. So that's a good thing. So what does that mean on an average, for the taxpayers? At the end of the day, it's roughly $92 a person for the truck. which comes out to about $5 a year per person for a 20-year period, the cost to replace the ladder truck.
You should sit up here. That was pretty good.
I tried to do my math. And then certainly, obviously, 40 years to 20 years and to now, there's definitely more challenges in the community. Technology changes, so a newer truck would address a lot of that as well. My request tonight would to look for your authorization to begin the ordering process to be received and budgeted for at some point on or after July 1st, 2028.
No, and obviously you pointed out on your report, on your request to us, how much work it's been done in that vehicle and the needs, So by the time you put out all the money, we continue to pinch out, it's just senseless, not to, to invest. I know when I was in Little Compton, it took 3 years before to get a truck. So hopefully that's probably how long it will take for this one as well. But to your point, I think we've had this conversation when we were talking about capital projects previously. So certainly, it's wise to move forward and begin the investment.
And we tend to use it more frequently with the different construction types that we have in town. I just used it this past weekend on a fortunate fire that family had. So it's definitely an important piece of equipment. Again, the only one that we have, so we don't have a backup. So when they do go down, we rely on our neighbors to come in mutual aid, which they do happily. But it's time. It'll by the time we get it, we'll fall into the average normal time that we replace it.
I think it's always amazing of how many years you have to wait for a truck. And I give you a lot of credit, Mike, and the administration for planning in advance so that we know we're going to do this, scheduling it and getting moving on it. Like even if the cost is not going to be till another year in the future type things.
And I got to give a lot of credit to the men and women of the department. They keep the trucks up very well. First drivers that are charged with maintaining the truck on a weekly basis are constantly checking, notifying the office a lot of anything that's, whether it's a loose screw or a major concern that needs to be repaired. So kudos to the rank and file of the department that make sure that the trucks are ready to roll.
Well said. Yeah. Councilman Sweeney and I were talking recently about the focus that this council's had on maintenance, on supporting the maintenance, not just for trucks, but for buildings, for our infrastructure and making sure that stuff like this happens, that we're planning for the future. And we know there's an eventuality of a need for a new truck or a new X, whatever it happens to be. And I know that, as I said, Tim and I spoke very recently about that this council really focuses on that with the administrator, of course, to make sure that what we have is taken care of. I'm looking at the chief right now. How old's that police department, chief?
1977.
1977, but you walk in and it is shiny as the day. Maybe shinier than when it was new. Actually, interesting. So, and that is not an anomaly. That's what happens here in town. We make sure we take care of it. And when it's time for something new like this, then we will support it. So what's this council's pleasure?
Make a motion that we approve it.
Second.
Yeah.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Mary. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
And I hope all of you got the invitation. I hope for my installation as president of the Rhode Island Fire Chiefs.
Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations.
Yeah.
Please attend if you're able to. I'd love to have you there.
So
Thank you.
you are going to be president of the Rhode Island Fire Chiefs, and Chief, you were president of the Rhode Island Police Chiefs, correct?
Correct.
Wow. Steve, anything? No, nothing? Town administrator, president of everybody?
President or something.
Mr. Chairman, time for autographs.
Yeah. Congrats.
And thank you.
Thank you.
Mr.
Mr.
Chairman.
Wait, Mr.
Okay.
Administrator wants to make a joke. Hold on.
I always like to, at home, I like to say, I'm the Speaker of the House, but my wife's the President.
I'm going to use that, Steve.
I'm putting that in the minutes. Mr. Chairman and members of the council, the next item on the agenda is I-6. This is Director Williamson, and this is for an update on the pilot program from the Food Compost Eastern Rhode Island Conservation District. I would also note that there's a received at meeting agenda item. It's a report on the program findings since 9/18/2025.
Welcome.
Happy New Year to you all.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
My name is Stella Piasecki, and I work for the Eastern Rhode Island Conservation District as our compost program coordinator. So I wanted to start off with two very quick thank yous. The first to Councilman Sweeney for all of your continued help and writing a letter to the Phoenix on behalf of the compost program, and Councilman Lay for hosting a testimonial recording at your house. So thank you both so much. We really appreciate it. Eastern Rhode Island Conservation District has been working closely with the town to launch the new residential curbside compost program. And today I'm going to present the findings thus far. We're still in the first quarter of this 2-year pilot program, so we're very early on. But I want to present the findings so far, and then also give a little bit of context for the state of waste management in Rhode Island at large. So the program, as was previously mentioned, launched on September 18th. We currently have 232 Bristol participants of the 500 spots available. So we do still have some spots available, many spots available for Bristol residents. And Black Earth Compost is our compost hauler for this program. And since the program started in September, they have serviced 2,570 bins from across Bristol and reported very little contamination. So that is really incredible, truly. And in total, the town of Bristol has diverted 12 tons of food waste from the landfill since the beginning of this program, which is huge. 12 tons is quite a bit. And so the town pays $63 a ton for their municipal trash tipping fees going to the landfill. So based on that number, and along with the amount of diverted waste that we've calculated, we've estimated that the town has saved $750 on trash tipping fees so far. That number is only going to increase as more people sign up and as time goes on. And then we also sent out a survey to all of the participants of the program, and we've had 105 Bristol residents respond so far. And through this survey, we have deduced that 50% of respondents have learned something new through this program, which is education is a huge part of this program and what we're trying to do to educate the public about the importance and benefits of composting. And then 98% of respondents said that it was important to them to see the town government continue to support a municipal composting program after this pilot has ended. So switching gears and just zooming out a little bit, Rhode Island only has one landfill, and it is due to reach its capacity in 2046. And after we reach capacity, unless another Rhode Island town wants the next landfill, which is fairly unlikely, we won't have any more in-state waste management options. So we are looking at shipping our trash out of state once that happens. And currently, for comparison, Connecticut doesn't have any active landfills. They burn 60% of their trash, and they ship the other 40% out of state to Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Alabama, along with some other states, but those are the three main ones. And Connecticut taxpayers spend $94 million a year to ship just 40% of their trash out of state. And we in Rhode Island don't have the same capacity for trash to energy incineration, which is how Connecticut is able to burn 60% of their trash. So we're looking at shipping, as I said, most of our trash, if not all of it, out of state. So that is going to be a huge number for our taxpayers. And so our food waste and compostable waste from entering the landfill now is extremely vital. And if we can extend the life of our landfill by even 5 years, it could save Rhode Island taxpayers upwards of $500 million. So that's money we could spend on education, infrastructure, transportation, things that actually matter for our communities, rather than spending it on shipping our trash. So just to wrap everything up, composting at the municipal level is extremely beneficial, and Bristol is leading the way in Rhode Island towards municipal scale composting, which is incredible. And our hope is that after this program concludes, that the town will decide to continue supporting a municipal composting program for residents. Thank you all so much.
Thank you for the
Thank you.
report.
Yeah.
And how many people did you say?
132 have signed up so far.
232.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Still
Out of
lots of seats
500.
left, Tony.
Oops.
Still lots of seats left over there.
Well, that's what I was going to
Spots,
say.
yeah.
Out of 500. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to say that my experience has been fantastic. It's very easy to do. It's very easy way to save tax dollars and help the environment. I put my bin out. You guys communicate when that bin's going to get picked up or if it's going to get delayed. So I just want to say it's a very easy, friendly service to use. And I just wanted to know, what can the town do more to increase the outreach? Because clearly there's a savings to all of the residents if we can get more people to divert trash,
Yeah.
just simply by putting in the right bin.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think what we've been finding is the barriers are that we're trying to hit as many avenues of outreach as we can in the Phoenix. I've been attending a bunch of different local town events, going to businesses, putting up flyers. So we're trying to hit as many avenues as we can, but clearly we're missing some large group of Bristol residents. So I think we're planning on meeting with Diane in the next couple of weeks to have a strategy session on how we can kind of increase our outreach to more audiences. We're trying to think a little differently about like what audiences. We're pretty sure that we've hit all the people that are, they're thinking about composting, they're thinking about the environmental impact. They saw the flyer, they want to sign up, and they've signed up. So there are some people that maybe don't fall into those categories, and we're trying to think about where we can kind of hit them and get something out to them. We're also going to send out at least one more mailer, and hopefully expand the list of residences that are receiving that mailer.
Okay.
Diane, we have approximately 9,000 and change households.
Yes, but I think we're trying to target single family, and I don't remember what that number is because we're not, condominium complexes and multifamilies.
Yeah.
They're not really part of this
Right.
current pilot
Mhm.
program. So I think the number's a little bit less that we're trying to use for the outreach.
Right. So you're saying if you're talking about single households? So let's say it's about maybe 4,000 and
I don't know,
change.
Stella, do you remember the
I think
number?
it was like 5,000 and something was what we worked with the tax assessor to get
Right.
That list. And I think we're trying not to focus on the condos because they aren't on the municipal trash, so
Mhm.
their savings wouldn't actually go to the town. But I think we can expand possibly more than just single family residences to residences that are still on the municipal trash but aren't single family.
Right. But even so, if you're looking at, let's say approximately 5,000, so we're saying 500, we're looking for 500 takers. So it's 10%. So yeah. Okay.
And my only suggestion would be definitely to reach out to the Bristol Warren Regional School System to see if there's education opportunities there as well, where the kids bring it home to their parents and together they learn and maybe they will sign up.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
Yeah, so not super related to this, but in my role, I have been working with the Rhode Island School Recycling Project, which they bring in school composting programs to schools, and we're actually going to launch at Cole Andrews on Monday. So we will
fantastic.
be
All right.
in there teaching the kids how to compost their food waste, and I will be bringing lots of flyers and sending them home with the kids.
Great. You're on top of it. Thank you.
Stella, keep up the good work there. Keep grinding away and making sure that, people are signing up for this program and everything like that. It's been kind of a nice thing to have in our house. I can tell you that. I just have a lot less trash that I'm bringing out, and I was having the hardest time. I had so I think one of my kids was putting like noodles down the drain and stuff like that, and it would just plug things up, and I'd have to get the plumber out, and I don't have that problem anymore. So it's really nice to have that. And
More savings.
I can also tell you that like during like Halloween, when you have like pumpkins and stuff like that, like instead of throwing them in the trash, they'll pick up your pumpkins and stuff like that as long as they're not decorated and that kind of thing. So it's like I said, it's been a great program. I feel like I'm just have a lot more room in my trash can now. So
Actually, I'm not part of it, but I have a small garden and I can tell you, if you go there, you're going to find a lot of eggshells, but in appeals and many other things. And yeah, and some of the other stuff, I'm a little more cautious how it gets compost. So yeah,
hey, that's the great thing about this, Tony, is you can start composting meat scraps, bones,
Yeah,
things
shells.
that you wouldn't normally be able to do with your backyard composting and things like that. I
Yeah.
got to tell you, right around the holidays, it comes in really nicely when you don't have to throw that like a turkey carcass or something like that into the trash. So, and here's the other thing too. And Tony, you and I had a conversation about this. I like to keep my trash cans
right.
in my garage for curb appeal purposes. But in the summertime, that's not always the best thing to do, right?
Mhm.
So when I have the composting, I just keep that thing outside, that little can outside, and we don't have any problems. And no animals or rodents get into that thing either because that thing is on lockdown. So
And Councilman Lay, tell them about the shells.
yeah,
Could put your shells in there.
that's right. Shells, everything.
Everything. So,
That's the best part about Black Earth is they take literally everything. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
Any other discussion from the council? So we just need a motion to receive and file.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you. Thank you for
Thank
the
you.
report. Yes.
So, Madam Clerk.
The next item on the agenda is J1. This is bid 1078. This is renovations to the Wally School site. We had the bid opening today at noon. We did receive 7 bids. The first bid was from Mill City Construction, Inc. This is in the base bid amount of $390,710. The second one was from Yard Works, Inc. in the amount of $284,000. The third was from BBI in the amount of $192,840. The fourth one was from JML Excavation, Inc. in the amount of $136,850. The next one was from Marion Construction Company, Inc. in the amount of $578,379. The next one was from True North Civil LLC in the amount of $308,000. And the last one was from Construction Concepts and Solutions LLC in the amount of $406,796.88.
I make a motion, we refer to the town administrator to act in the best interest of the town.
Second.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim. As stated, any discussion?
Yes, I have a question. TA, could you please let us know what's the source of funding for this?
It was a community development block grant, so HUD,
Okay.
for a senior center. So it's gonna do the drainage, parking lot, and also the flooring on the first floor.
Good. Thank you.
It's not local money, it's federal money.
Super. Thank you. And another question I have, JML Excavation, they had the lowest bidder. And I know we've taken them on for a couple projects already. Okay. Does he come back to us with some add-ons in addition to what's there? I mean, have you experienced that at all?
Nothing that wasn't fully vetted. They did first phase of the drainage on the north side of the building.
Right.
You know,
Right, and we,
There might have been an add-on. Remember what it was? Wasn't much, whatever.
I
it
don't
was.
recall, but I was just going to add that, we send these bids to the architect who's on charge of the project, and they, one of the things they're supposed to do is look at it to make sure that they didn't miss anything that could come back as a change order later. Sometimes just field conditions, unknown conditions, cause change orders to occur, but we're going to have the architect look at this and make sure that because it's low, we want to make sure they didn't leave anything out that, would automatically be a change order.
Right.
So,
Yeah, we've had good luck with JML. We haven't had any issues with change orders. Anything that yeah.
They've done a lot of work over there, haven't they?
Yes, yes.
Any other
Take note
discussion?
of
You're watching out the window.
Yeah, no, I just, no, going into my carpet, it's like kind of like, oh, like that's who I could call if I wanted a fire alarm.
Right, right. That's what I could call for electrical.
Right, right.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The last item on the agenda is the BCWA Tri-Town Report from December 2025.
Motion to receive and file.
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony. Discussion?
Yes, it was interesting, we certainly appreciate those reports, looking at the capital projects that they have, they're undertaking and projected. It's awesome to see what's being done in the various communities to improve the water quality and access and water pressure as well. And also the progress with the connection to Pawtucket water supply. They moved along on that as well. So it's good information and certainly appreciated.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. And we do not have executive session, so we just need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony. Any discussion?
we have to leave.
Yes, we do. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Good night.